On the morning of January 2nd, 2025, 30-year-old Ashley Elkins left her home in Warren, Michigan to run a few errands. A mother of two sons, ages 7 and 10, she had left the boys with her younger sister and expected to return within a short time. Ashley drove her silver Chevrolet Malibu to a nearby 7-Eleven around 8 a.m., where surveillance cameras captured her parking, walking inside, and leaving a few minutes later. Throughout the morning, she exchanged text messages with her mother, Monica, casual, routine exchanges that gave no hint of trouble. Then, just after 9 a.m., the messages stopped. Monica later said she felt an immediate sense that something was wrong. At 9:06, she texted Ashley about a disturbing dream she'd had the night before, one in which her daughter's car had been stolen. Ashley's reply came quickly, but was oddly brief. "Oh man." That was the last communication from her phone. Monica tried to FaceTime. There was no answer. She drove to Ashley's house, but Ashley was already gone. Hours later, a family member received another text from Ashley's number, saying she was heading to a specific beauty supply store. After that, the phone powered off. It would be turned back on later, but there would be no further messages. Unable to reach her, the family began their own search. Using the Find My iPhone app, Ashley's sister Alexis traced the last known location to an apartment building on Pinehurst Street in Roseville, Michigan, a few miles away. The address was familiar. It belonged to Ashley's ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old DeAndre Booker. Members of Ashley's family drove to the complex. Ashley's car was not in the parking lot. They knocked on DeAndre's door. No one answered. That evening, Monica spoke with police and shared the family's concerns. Ashley and DeAndre had broken up the previous September, and to Monica's knowledge, they were no longer involved. But DeAndre had been part of their lives for about a year, spending holidays with the family and helping care for Ashley's sons. After the breakup, Ashley had deliberately distanced herself. When DeAndre called, she did not answer. In the weeks before she disappeared, Ashley told some family members she believed DeAndre may have been following her. Then, just days before January 2nd, he tried to get into her house under a false identity. Ashley ran her hairstyling business from home, and DeAndre made an appointment using a fake name. When he arrived, Ashley realized who he was and told him to leave. He knocked on the front door and the side door before eventually walking away. 2 days later, she was gone. 5 days after Ashley disappeared, her silver Malibu was found in the parking lot of an apartment complex near the intersection of 13 Mile and Little Mac in Roseville, approximately 4 miles from DeAndre Booker's building. The keys were sitting on the driver's seat. Investigators began reconstructing Ashley's movements from the morning of January 2nd using surveillance footage. A camera facing the parking lot of DeAndre's complex on Pinehurst Street showed Ashley arriving that morning. She was wearing the same clothing she had worn at the 7-Eleven, an orange shirt, a black jacket, and dark jeans. Hours later, around noon, the same camera captured two figures approaching Ashley's car. The man, wearing dark jeans, a black coat, and a hat, appeared to be DeAndre Booker. The woman beside him was dressed in different clothing, and the camera angle made it impossible to see her face clearly. The two got into the car. After a brief pause, the woman moved to the driver's seat. They pulled out of the complex and drove away. The car never returned. For weeks, the identity of the woman remained a mystery, but the footage confirmed one critical fact. Ashley had gone to DeAndre's apartment that morning, and she had not left in her own vehicle. 2 days after Ashley vanished, DeAndre Booker placed a call to Roseville police. He reported that he suspected his apartment had been broken into. He had not stayed there the night before, and he did not meet officers at the door when they arrived to investigate. Because the door to his unit was unlocked and sitting slightly ajar, officers let themselves in. What they found immediately raised alarms. The apartment had been cleaned very recently using a significant amount of bleach. The scent of cleaning products lingered in the air. On the sofa, a pair of yellow rubber gloves sat discarded on a cushion. A laptop and headphones were in plain view on the table, suggesting the apartment had not actually been burgled. The bathroom told a more disturbing story. 2 bottles of bleach sat out, one on the counter next to the sink, another on the floor beside the bathtub. The shower curtain was missing. The drain plug was in the middle of the tub, and inside the drain, small items were visible. Using tweezers, an officer pulled out remnants of what appeared to be blood, caught on a few strands of hair. Small spatter stains were visible on the bathroom tiles, against the side of the bathtub, on the baseboards, the floor, and the back of the door. As officers moved down the hallway, they found more spatter on a closet door and the walls. In the kitchen, a box of heavy-duty garbage bags sat with several missing. A second set of lighter pink bags was also present. The waste bin was empty, and a fresh, heavy-duty bag had been placed inside. A mop showed signs of a recent cleanup. The scene was immediately sealed off. Forensic teams later applied luminol to the walls and floors of the bathroom and hallway. Under the blue light, large areas glowed, revealing where blood had been wiped away but not fully removed. A plumber was called to take apart the pipes. From the bathtub drain, they retrieved a bullet fragment, one silver hooped earring, and a small clump of hair. Underneath the couch in the living room, police found a handgun registered to DeAndre Booker. DNA testing would eventually confirm that the blood throughout the apartment, on the walls, in the drain, on the baseboards, belonged to Ashley Elkins. The evidence pointed to a violent event, followed by an extensive effort to clean and conceal what had happened. Meanwhile, surveillance footage from the complex showed DeAndre's activities for the rest of that day and into the early morning hours of January 3rd. At around 3 p.m., he carried what appeared to be a large cardboard box toward a dumpster. As darkness fell, he crossed the street to a 7-Eleven and returned, pushing a shopping cart. Over the next several hours, he made repeated trips to various dumpsters around the complex, carrying pink bags, heavy-duty black bags, and other items. At 1 a.m., he took a large black bag to a dumpster in the north parking lot. Just before 4 a.m., a figure consistent with DeAndre's build and clothing was captured walking along the tree line, again carrying a large, dark bag toward a dumpster. The most disturbing sequence began at 4:11 a.m., when DeAndre emerged with the shopping cart, this time loaded. In the darkness, analysis of shadows revealed him attempting to lift a heavy object from the cart into a dumpster. He spent nearly 5 minutes at the dumpster, emptying the cart. By the time police later identified those dumpsters, the garbage had already been collected. Investigators seized the dumpsters themselves and found traces of blood at the bottom. Those samples matched Ashley Elkins. The woman who had been seen driving Ashley's car was eventually identified as Payne Barksdale, DeAndre's niece. She testified that DeAndre had manipulated her into moving the car, believing she was helping a friend. When investigators obtained DeAndre's cell phone, they discovered a series of internet searches that revealed premeditation. 9mm silencer, murder out of Rage X, shotgun through pillow, and after the murder, what happens to trash after it's picked up, and how to beat a polygraph. DeAndre was arrested in Flint wearing the same clothing seen in the surveillance footage. He was initially charged with lying to a peace officer, then later with murder. At his pre-trial hearing, DeAndre's behavior was erratic. He refused to sit, screamed from his jail cell, and attempted to intimidate witnesses. The court proceedings continue. A search of the Pine Tree Acre landfill over 5 days did not recover Ashley's remains. Her 2 sons are being raised by family. A GoFundMe was established to support them. Ashley Elkins' family waits for justice, holding on to the memory of a woman whose life was taken far too soon.